And then I think at this stage of the company, right, it seems that you have kind of hit on a good problem statement. There's a wedge. You're iterating with kind of early customers, I'm assuming. Um, what are some of the things you're doing on the go-to-market side to get in front of new leads, new customers, and how is in particular that changing given the environment we are in right now, especially I mean you being a YC company and kind of being in the valley, right? Like there is, it
Yeah,
seems like GTM is really changing
yeah.
for AI companies, right? And of course you are in the infra layer, and so it's slightly different. You're talking to, I'm guessing, a different kind of ICPs as well. But talk to us about your thinking right now on GTM.
I mean, it's ever evolving, but I can tell you what doesn't work for us, at least it's based on what we've seen. A drip campaign does not work for us at the moment. I think the amount of AI SDR spam that's happening on people's inboxes is just not something that I ideally want to look at. And I have enough filters on my email to just like move the crap into the trash as soon as possible. I think what's working for us are on two, three fronts. One is, of course, networks. I have a network. Our founding team members have a network. VCs have a network. People I know in the Bay, they have a network. That's one. The second is I think offline events are back, and they're back like anything in the Bay Area. So you just go and just meet people. Somebody that you're chasing with like 3 rounds of cold messages over 2 months, you might just bump into them at an event and they'll be like, I didn't even know you mailed me. Because they also probably have the same filters that I have to just not get an email. So that's the second layer. And I think the third layer is just doubling down on content and having a very sharp content wedge that you want to go after. That's what we are working on now actively, which is figuring out what are three, four pillars on which our story stands as a company and just doubling down on that with posts, blogs, articles, newsletters, and we are just doubling down on that. It'll start from next month onwards. So that's something that we are doubling down on, largely because content still works. People are in the mode of learning more. They want to hear more, but they don't want to hear the most hyped up thing of these are 10 AI tools you should use. These are best vibe coding platforms. Lovable is hitting 100 million ARR and just people reposting that in different forms. That's not what they want to listen to. They want to listen to, for example, why does Pipecat on my voice application crash when in production? That's what they want to, at least our customers want to look at. So that's how I would place it.
Yeah, I was listening to this the recent episode that Shane Parrish just released with Lulu Maservi. She's one of the kind of top PR experts, right? And she mentioned something very interesting. She said we are living in an era where, because now everyone knows these things, right? Like everyone
Yeah,
is freaking churning out LinkedIn posts and content and blogs and all that. I think the
yeah,
key is now being very, very sharp
yeah,
with your story, with your messaging,
yeah,
and the precursor or the foundational element of all of that is actually understanding your audience really well.
yep, yep, yep. And that's the reason I said like having like these three, four pillars on what our story stands. And I think that only comes from speaking to more and more customers and understanding if you say this first thing, do they ask you about the second thing? If say the second thing, do they ask you about the third thing? Or like if you see any of these, do they lead to where you want them to go to? So I think that's what we are doubling down on, which is just having a really sharp three, four things that we talk about, not any random thing in AI, and just doubling down on it with really quality content and non-GPT generated content that's not even proofread or run by an editor. Like I still like typing. Of course, there is some amount of GPT on some of the internal things that we write as memos internally for our team, documentations that we write. But then there's always somebody reading it, fixing it, typing the first draft, and just asking you to rephrase it. Maybe it should help you. It should not write for you. That's how we look at it. People smell through it. They've read enough GPT content to smell through uh, whether it's written by GPT or not.
Yeah, as a writer, I mean, I kind of think that a good role for LLMs is actually the role of what an editor would do, right? So, in a classic kind of pre-AI world as well, right? Like somebody would still need to have an idea, do research on it, have a point of view on it, gather information, insights, and write something, and then the editor would edit it, which is
Yeah,
okay. Let's make something crisper. Let's make something punchier. Let's make something which is too complex to understand. Let's wordsmith it, right? Which is, I think, a great use of technology, right? But the ideation still has to come from a human mind. Just double clicking on the event side, right? Because this is another question that which I'm sure you are still facing, and seed stage founders face a lot, right? Which is kind of the ROI on all the effort, where it takes effort to go out.
Yeah,
How do you maintain that discipline? How do you make sure that you are actually getting kind of enough bang for the buck in terms of like the time you're committing, especially as a founder?
I think one is, I mean, from my case, I've probably burnt my hand and realized that fire is hot. So I've kind of gone to bad events and realized that they are bad events and it's just not. Um, I think it's really easy. I think most founders figure it out eventually. A few good cues would be, is it invite only? If it's not invite only, do they have some amount of credibility or historic credibility? But it's not just about hype and see, whenever an event has like 100, 200 people, I feel like it's not valuable for me, I believe, because you unless there's someone specific that you want to meet, or you have a speaker slot where you can just go and speak.
Yeah, like a
Uh,
celebrity speaker or a founder who's hard to find that
yeah, exactly.
you would not be
That's
able to
different.
listen to. Yeah,
That's different.
yeah,
But if it's just a random event, like a mixer of 100 people, just wine and dine, or like just pizzas and beer, I don't think so. You should go there. As a founder, uh, because it's just at the end of the day something that gives you a perception of being busy. This is how I look at it. I think what I'd rather double down on is other invite only events. Other events that I can have a speaker slot at in any manner, because that allows you to at least get 5 minutes of attention, and then you know if there's any value. Otherwise, you leave the event after that really quick. Then are there things that you can have, other curated events that are organized by people that you might want to interact with? Maybe a potential customer is doing an event where they're inviting you. Go ahead, because that's the relationship building problem point for if you're fundraising, then if a VC is doing an event and you want to meet them, I think that's the easiest way to meet them without creating a formal structure where you're just talking about your business. So I think that's how I filter it out. I don't go into any random mixer, any random Luma event, especially if the event is not on my calendar at least a week before the event. I tend to be maybe I'm missing out on some opportunities. One or two times I might even go. Like today, somebody called up and you go to the event tomorrow. But ideally, I tend to stay away from events that are not on my calendar for a week. Then I know that I've not spent enough time thinking about it. Because I think when things were not going as well, or we were not as busy, or like probably there are rough times in a startup. You're just not, things are not working out. Just to feel good and feel busy, I was going to many events. And I was like, that's probably the worst thing I could have done when I should have spent that time fixing things in the company. And yeah, be honest to yourself. You'll know exactly where what works, what doesn't work, which event you should go to, which you should not go to.